false alarm.
Oh, I thought that was somebody. No, I thought he had a contact in his phone named Trash. I was like, wait, what?
That was a reminder to take the trash out.
Oh, I thought somebody. I was like, I'm not calling him, am I?
Oh no!
That's the immediate thing.
No, I have better names and better pictures for you guys than that. Welcome back to Ramblin' Men. This is Jake.
This is Isaac.
This is Travis.
I'm Josh.
And today's topic, we are going to talk about something a little heavier. I'm hosting, and I picked Neurotheology. I first heard about this from John Mark Comer in one of his sermons, and it kind of just spiked my interest, considering I'm in psychology and very interested about theology as well. So just to start us off, I'll tell us about neurotheology and what it is a little bit, and then I'll hand it to the other guys. So just breaking it down, neuro is part of neurology, which is the study of the brain.
We're getting the full etymology. Nice.
Yeah,
All right.
a little bit.
Break it down.
Big brain moment.
Teach us, Professor Jake.
I wouldn't say professor. Very interested student.
Very interested.
Yes. So neurology, it's a combination of neurology and theology. And theology is the study of God. So it's like basically a lot of people call it a discipline, just because it's still a new idea that's very researched quite recently, but it's the more I research, the more I realize there's so much to it, and it's bigger than just neurology and theology, but there can be a lot more with that.
Yeah, so what I was reading is, and you can correct me because you know more about this, but
Maybe.
We're basically talking about like the concept that theology and religion are housed and operate uniquely within the physical brain. Mm-hmm. So like the combination of the brain actually being a physical object that we can scientifically study, right, and also theology and the study of religion and how it is reprogramming, redesigning, how does it actually physically change and exist within the brain, right? Is that kind of where we're at? Yeah. Which is really cool. Really crazy concept that we're able to actually like study that. Like we're able to take big idea concepts and be like, oh yeah, see that little dot on your brain? Yeah, that big idea is right there. Like, yeah. It's like, wait a minute. Because we've been able to do that with computers for a long time, where we can say, oh yeah, this is memory, this is processing, like whatever. But we're kind of a chemical combination computer, and this is one of those elements that we're talking about now. So where is theology stored, and how does it work within the physical brain? So yeah, it's cool. I like it. It's a good topic.
Yeah. Travis, you have anything to add?
Called out.
Travis or Isaac?
I was halfway expecting someone to call on me, and my answer is I think my research comes in a little bit later in this episode.
Okay. I probably shouldn't have just called on you.
That was pretty savage.
Not what I meant to do.
You look like you have ideas.
For once, I don't mind it. But yeah, I feel like I'm going to be honest, I didn't do a whole lot of research on this topic, so...
Sorry to interrupt, but like unintentionally as we're talking about this, I'm like, some of the things that I was listening to and reading this week actually do relate to this more so than I originally thought. I was like, oh, that seems like a crazy idea. I'm going to look into it. And then now that we're talking about this, I was like, oh, that's not really crazy anymore.
So I think part of my problem is I kind of underestimated this topic, and I was like, oh, just kind of like watch a video on the definition and brief explanation of this, and then you guys are talking about it and comparisons with like the brain and the computer, and just a lot of stuff that goes into this and different ways to think about it. And I'm like, I'm gonna soak this in for a little bit.
You're gonna soak this in for the
Yeah, like
let it absorb.
yeah, I'm
Marinade.
Marinade. That's a better word right there.
I plan to participate eventually, but I need to just kind of get some traction, so to speak.
It's a lot of good steaks that come from marinades, so we're expecting good tasty bits coming in at later. I know how to speak some days. This apparently isn't one of them. It's fine.
It's been a long day.
It's been a good long day.
Good long
day, and we're starting a beautifully complex topic. So who knows what this is gonna look like?
We all got back.
Who knows?
We all got back from the gym a little while ago.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we're trying to regather our brain cells.
We've got at least 6 collectively, man. We're good. We'll run.
As we're kind of introing, I was just another idea that it's kind of the other side of like what else can affect your brain, and like kind of the things that can be the rival of theology, I guess, in a way, is like a lot of ways how phones can affect our brains and how our bodies react to phones. And so I came upon this.
We going big broad. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You and I are thinking about very similar subjects.
Yeah, that's part of my struggle researching, is I was thinking of like I would get broad and then I'd have to reel it back in and get back to the subject. But
that's okay. Let's shoot it. Go for it.
One of the things I came upon was phantom vibration syndrome.
Oh yes.
This watch doesn't vibrate, but I feel like I'd feel it vibrate often.
You ever have that feeling like your phone's ringing or vibrating, and then you're like, my phone's not in my pocket? That's basically what it is. Is like your body gets used to your phone vibrating, and then it kind of just does that on its own.
Yeah.
I've had that a few times, and I'm like, that's not a great feeling. Like, I don't feel like my body's supposed to do that.
Yeah, right. Give you false signal.
But, a definition of this phantom vibration syndrome or phantom ring syndrome is the perception that one's mobile phone is vibrating or ringing when it is not. Other terms for this concept include ringxiety. I don't know how to pronounce this. Foxcellarum.
Not that I can do much better.
Foxcellarum.
Oh,
I think that's. Oh.
Let me see.
I know how to pronounce
You have
the
a go
first
at
part.
it.
I think it's like faux something.
Foxcellarum.
Foxalarm.
Oh, Foxalarm. Like false alarm.
That's not how you spell false alarm.
No, it's not. And then phonetum.
Phonetum.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a little play on words.
There's a
feels
Pokemon
like,
that's almost that name.
and phantom phone signals. Those were just some names that it's also called. But
so, not a phone, but directly in line with that. There was actually a study on how the brain can be completely lied to, and how it can receive signal about things that don't exist at all. So they had participants walk into this little room with another person, and they had a fake arm on the table, and they told participants to just put your arm under the table, and your left arm would go under the table, your right arm would go on the table, and then everything that they did to the right hand, they also did to the fake left hand. And so they would take like little paintbrush and they would like brush it on the right hand, and they'd also do that to the left hand. And they do all these other things, just like little pokes, little prods, whatever else. And then without any sort of warning, they grab a hammer from under the table and smash the fake hand. And like every single time, the participant like jumps violently and freaks out because their hand just got smashed with a hammer, but it wasn't their hand at all. And so it's kind of in the same boat where like our brain has gotten so used to something, it thinks something. This is obviously what reality is in front of me. Or for the case of the phone, you know, oh, my phone's ringing, obviously, because it does that 1,000 times a day. And then when the hand gets hit with a hammer, our brains freak out because we think our actual hand, with the full knowledge that it's under the table, but our actual hand just got smacked because it looks and seems like our hand because of the sensations we've gotten from our other. So yeah, fun stuff. Our brains are really weird.
Yeah. Crazy how they can get tricked so easily, and even like nowadays ads just manipulating us so easily. And that's a big part of advertisement, is like learning how to trick us.
Tracking thing that they know you want to buy.
Yeah.
I just straight up now, I like pull up my phone and I'll just sit there whispering. I'm like, I am going to buy this. I need this. Find me ads for this. There's no apps open. Just find me. I know you're listening. Just find me ads for this.
There's some FBI director being like, does he actually know? No, he doesn't. Does he?
But dude, I changed one of the settings on my phone to now it will automatically, like if I'm on one Google app and I'm searching X, Y, and Z, it'll automatically, I'll start typing it and it'll automatically, I'm like, bro, this is so convenient. It's so convenient sometimes. I'm like, this is really bad. Very, very non-privacy thing, but I like it so much.
Yep. I've had so many sites and people tell me like, oh, you really shouldn't let them have your like search data and stuff like that. And I'm like,
bro,
it happens every time I walk through a store. Like as soon as I'm walking in the Meijer, my phone gets geographical data and it says, oh, he prefers to shop at Meijer over Walmart. It's like, why? Because it's like 5 minutes from my house as opposed to the 20 minutes to the nearest Walmart. But that means that whenever I go randomly on Google, Meijer always shows up first. It's like, I don't have to hit the cookies preference button. Like, it already knows. Like, okay? There's so many things in marketing like that where, you know, it's just designed around what's naturally going to go for these people. One of the things that I found really funny recently, though, is that for those who may not know, I'm a videographer. I also do content design. And so most of my world revolves around creative apps and programs and other things that I work on. Because I've been searching and learning so many different things, almost all of my current ads on YouTube are for the Adobe Creative Suite, which I already own. And I can't turn it off. I have tried to tell Google I am not interested. And it's like, why? It's like, because I have it.
Bought it. You're at
Like,
bird.
I am part of the subscription. Like, I can't go any higher with my current bracket. Like, there's literally nothing to sell to me. Stop giving me these minute-long ads about something I already use. And half the time I'm searching something to learn how to use it better. It's like, I'm literally using it right now. Like, you don't need to tell me to buy it. It's open on my computer. So yeah, the advertisements sometimes miss just a little bit, but with the information they're given, it makes sense. You know,
it's one thing I don't like about. Sorry to keep getting us off topic. Like 30-second little rant, and then we'll get back to the subject.
Yeah, you're good.
The Spotify algorithm. I have to use my wife's to discover new music because my taste in music for so long was such an echo chamber of just the same stuff over and over again. So now it's all country music. I'm like, dude, I am so sick of country music. I listen to like every corner of country music, country pop, country rap. I've listened to metal country before.
cold.
I didn't even know that was a thing. But like, and then all the way to the other where it's like, just like, okay, nobody likes this. I'll listen to it because I'm not. And then I'm like, I have so few country songs on my playlist, if any at all right now. And half of what it's recommending is just country music or stuff that I've just taken off of my playlist. I'm like, bro, I don't want to listen to this. That's why I took it off my playlist.
Right. Yeah, there are definitely some search engine functions out there that are better than others.
You're gonna spy on me 24/7. Do better.
Yeah, if you're gonna spy on me, at least learn. Like, come on, I'm offended.
But like my Instagram app was like, I was typing in neurotheology at one point or another in some form on my phone, and it started on my Instagram. I was like, oh, this is an interesting science little thing, and then it started to, you know how it adapts to you and what you want. Like your feed will adapt, and then you reset it, and it'll reset everything to okay. It'll give you like 7 different things that are similar to the thing that you like the most. And it started to get closer and closer and closer to our subject. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And then it got like really weird for a second. And then I was like, all right, we need to close this out and reset this whole thing for a second. I was like, now you're getting into like the people who are like out of body experiencers. They'll go like walk on the moon or some stuff like that. And I was like, okay, this is entertaining, but it's like that's as far as it goes. It's just entertaining. Like you're eating a bunch of mushrooms and going on outer space. Like like literally that's the whole conversation. They're called remote viewers. Like
So anyway.
I mean, that kind of reminds me of like some of my research problems of like I'd get to an article and it would be talking about something that I somewhat understand because I know parts of the brain, and then it's like, oh, I don't know what it's talking about anymore. It's way over my head.
So you're talking like a skill level search problem, right? Like you search enough of it and it starts giving you like higher end results. Is that what you're talking about?
Or I would just use like, I was going into Google Scholar and just going based off like highly researched articles.
Okay,
like, people a lot smarter than me.
Yeah,
so that was just where I was going. I guess
I must have just misunderstood. Then I thought you were saying that like as you were searching, it was kind of assuming that you were. I guess it's a bad way to say it, but like it was assuming that you were smarter based on what you were searching, so it was starting to give you harder to understand content. So it naturally assumed that we were dumb. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there are a couple things on my search engine that are like, yeah, this kid doesn't know anything. I should probably suggest these basic results first. Like, I wouldn't be terribly surprised if that was the case. I've searched enough how to do this thing. Like, probably, honestly, there's probably something in the algorithm that sits there and says, yeah, he would probably burn a frozen pizza, wouldn't he? Okay. All right. Let's help him out.
A frozen pizza before.
I have too. Yeah. That's a story for another day.
We almost lit our toaster oven on fire at one point, Travis.
But bringing it back a little bit more simple and more relatable, and back to where I got most of my information was Mark Comer and just his teachings, and I often find myself relating to stuff he talks about because he's very, very big into psychology and that sort of research. And what's the quote? Like you become who you hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of
the average of the people you hang out with. Is that
I think he kind of, or this might have been said too already, but he said we become like what we meditate on. So that's just turning it more spiritually, and like if we're on our phones all day and looking at what the world's saying, then we'll become more like that. But if we spend more of our time reading the Bible and thinking about God, then we'll become more like him. And that's the part that I was more interested in, because that's something I need to do more of. But
yeah, there's a lot going into that concept with politics right now, and I won't go long on politics. Don't let me go long on politics. But I mean, even a TikTok algorithm, like if you see conservative, well, we'll throw the conservative word out. No, so if you see left and right sort of mentality videos, and you watch ones that are on the right side of politics more often, then it will naturally feed you more of the right. And so I forget what it's called, but there's actually a word for it. Um, like when your media snowballs to reinforce whatever opinion you have. So if you naturally gravitate, like on a perfectly balanced sheet, and you get left and right at the same time, and you go and choose one side or the other, and it naturally will start feeding you more and more of those things, and it's more and more likely that you will find something that you connect with, then it becomes this giant snowball of you may not have had an opinion one way or the other, but because you started, because you even liked one video, or because you started focusing in one time in a particular direction, then everything naturally gears you to the far end of that same spectrum. And you basically have to fight an algorithm to say that you want the middle ground. Like that's kind of where our media lies right now. And there have been a lot of people that have questioned if that's like a major problem. To say, maybe this is why people are getting supercharged in one direction or the other, because it literally just keeps going in that direction. Like you don't stop it naturally by just scrolling, and that's what people do on these sort of algorithms. Like they just kind of watch what they watch and what is available to them. So, yeah, on a theology basis, like what you're saying, it makes sense that it would be challenging to focus on the right stuff if we are constantly allowing either an algorithm or even ourselves to be focused on the other side, right? So, yeah. I'm done with politics. Cut off.
Then you need to stop you.
Another thing Mark Comer said that really caught my attention was, so I'll just say, he said the best time for neuroplasticity is morning and night. So before and after bed.
So what does that big word mean?
I'll rewind a little bit. Neuroplasticity. I can't even say it right now.
Neuroplasticity.
That.
I live in an amendment.
Adding too many syllables. So that word is basically, I forget exactly what it is, but it's like when your brain changes or kind of adapting.
When you're able to retain and gain new information.
Yeah. Like adding ridges.
Do you have a definition?
No, but I know about that specific process.
Okay.
So
go for it. You don't need hands around here. We're still raising hands.
I know.
We did that in episode 1. I commented on it then.
I feel like it helps with interrupting, though.
Okay.
Because I have a really bad habit of interrupting, and my wife, the first thing she said...
Maybe I'm just too rude. Maybe I expect people to interrupt me because I'm used to... Okay, anyway.
The first thing she said was, dude, shut the heck up. I was like, she was like, you interrupted everybody. I was like... I was like, that hurt coming from my best friend. Come on.
That's a savage review right there.
No, but like that's like that process of neuroplasticity.
5 stars, except for all the interrupting.
It's a full process. It's like an 8-hour cycle, but like you have smaller cycles that happen in that big circle that happens. You can learn something in the morning and evening better, but in order to take that from short term to long term, you need a lot of things to happen. You need a good REM sleep because your brain doesn't even activate that system that causes you to want to be like, okay, I need to move this from here to here. And like, I got to watch this really cool thing the other day where it was a literal scan of the neurons taking the electron and moving it across. Like you could see the. I was like, bro, that is so cool.
That is
it was
really
like
cool.
This is literally you taking it and making new memories. Like you're flipping switches, and it's like, I was like, dude, this is so cool. Because it was the actual system.
There are far too many days that I feel like whoever is hitting switches in my brain doesn't know what they're doing.
But dude, part of like what the research that I did for even just unintentional research that I did for this topic was that the amount of things that have to happen in that system and the amount of things that we eat, sleep, and are around 24/7 that affect that system in a negative ability.
Right.
Microplastics can interrupt that completely. Wi-Fi hits your pineal gland like a mother trucker, and that is one of the main things that causes you to be able to not like but like regulate stuff in your body, and it's like a lot of history and like certain like all sorts of different religions. What's the word? That is your religious gland.
Okay.
That is
Gotcha.
the thing that is like the more that gets damaged, the less close you feel to God, in a sense. Like there wasn't a ton of evidence for it, but like it was dotted all over in different religions in different time periods, all over the place, and some religions even worship that as a in the Catholic Church. One of their religious symbols that I came across looking into this subject a lot was a pine cone, which is a symbol for the pineal gland. Like just straight up, you can find verses in certain Catholic.
Interesting.
I know, and like at first I was like, okay, this is a little bit tinfoil hat for me, but then like I've been hearing that for over a year now, and I'm like, okay, I'll look into it here or there. I'll look into it here or there. I'm like, some of the staffs that the Pope holds, what does it have on top? It has a pine cone on top. Has a cross and a pine cone on top. In other books, it morphs into this religious symbol a little bit, but like, how devious is the enemy? How devious is the enemy to manipulate us into thinking things are okay, to making us depend on tools that damage the thing that directly help us contact our Lord and Savior.
Sure. Yeah.
Wi-Fi, there was an experiment done within the last 2 years, where a bunch of like middle schoolers to high schoolers did an experiment with just plants, just like bean sprouts, where they demonstrated how damaging Wi-Fi signals are to your sensitive organs and to your brain, your actual brain. You can see it, and then now with like RFK Jr. bringing out all this other stuff, it's like, hey, did you guys look at this? Did you guys look at this? I'm not saying either one of these are right, but look at what these things are telling us. Like, look at some of the evidence that's out here. Consider that this might be poisonous for you. Yeah. One of the research papers that he brought up was a paper where they literally study how much like heat and energy, like they just took a infrared scan of a person's body for like 24 hours. One person who had access to a lot of electronics around them all day long, and the inflammation was higher. The only difference in their diet, and like as much as you could possibly control in this experiment,
sure,
they discovered that anywhere that it was more inflamed, it was more, they had more brain fog, they had more fatigue, they had more everything. Like their sleep was the same, their eating was the same, everything was the same, as much as possible, of course. Yeah. You're not going to have two exact identical people, but you could even watch them put the phone up to like just the ear, or even they did this on multiple different electronic devices. And of course, I can't name the study, but like you even put your earbuds in long term, and there was like long term, not like damage, but like disruption in your whole body, all the way down to the cellular level. Yeah. But to get back to that experiment, in a high school classroom, they took plants. One was in a Faraday box or a Faraday cage, and one was not. Mm-hmm. They put routers right outside of each one. Mm. The plants literally did not grow at the same rate, if at all. The seeds that were right next to the router, I mean, it's just the same router. They're like, this is the same router that we have for the rest of the school. So I pulled them out of the supply closet, hooked them up right there at the edge of the classroom. And the plants that were in the Faraday box grew just fine. They had a light and everything. This was a sealed, nothing in, nothing out.
Right.
But like you can look it up, like it's a very popular, like been going around my social media, where they're like the plants inside the Faraday box grow normally and they're bright, and the seeds don't grow that are right next to it. They're like, well, if this is doing this to plants, which are quite a bit simpler than our brain,
right? We have to ask the question.
Well, dude, what is it doing to us? We
have to ask the question.
What is it doing to us?
Yeah.
And then I came across this. This one guy that I just scrolling through Instagram on Reels, and I was like, oh, I know that guy. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was on one of my other science podcasts I listen to. Haven't listened to it in over a year, so I can't recall the name. I'm not going to lie to you. But I was like, oh, I tend to believe stuff that this gentleman says, because he's not completely off his rocker. He looks like it though. He looks similar
the
to the
beloved
guy.
20% of the internet.
Yeah. he's like he pulls up he brings up like it's an old video, like it's old. He's probably dead by now, but he's got papers. He brings up these studies. He's like, these are from different schools, and every single one of these chemicals that we think is good for us or is being pushed in, the only country that these 4 chemicals are being pushed in is America. Mm-hmm. It's like fluoride, Wi-Fi, and like 2 others I couldn't remember. He was like, these are in all sorts of things. And what do all of these affect? Your pineal gland.
Yeah.
He's like, these all affect, like, severely damage, and some of it, like Wi-Fi can long-term potentially damage it permanently when we're around it so much. And he's like, what is the pineal gland mostly attributed to over the course of the last however long it appears in any sort of, like, you look at historical context. It's your organ in your body that is mostly accredited to how you communicate with God, how you communicate with whoever your religious figure is.
That's interesting. Yeah.
He was like, there is, and he pulls up like this image of whatever religion involves chakras, and it's one of the older ones, like really, really old. And what does it have? It has a freaking picture of a pine cone right where your pineal gland is. And I'm like, okay, well, that seems a little weird that multiple different religions across multiple different times, across multiple different places that are thousands of distances apart. Thousands of distances apart.
Distance unit.
Tracking. He's tracking, yeah.
So you have Professor Jake and Tracking Travis.
Professor Jake and Tracking Travis.
Man, I want a title. I'm probably still too rude to get a title.
You just gotta let it happen one day.
Oh, okay. One day I too will be old enough to have a title.
Even though you're the oldest one.
Shut up.
But I was like, it tickled my brain a little bit. I was like, that's a really interesting like hypothesis, and it honestly makes a lot of sense with how tricky and how much time the enemy has had to plan, and to have the amount of knowledge that he has, and just to be that devious. To we're gonna hide this from people, and then make this a very popular thing. Or we're gonna put this in the water because it's good for your teeth. We're gonna make you think that it's good for your teeth, even though it disrupts your endocrine system, and we're gonna try. I'm gonna make sure that I put.
You're gonna get some comments,
bro.
You're gonna get some comments, bro. I'm gonna stay off that. But no, I track with you too. Like, absolutely. You mentioned the tinfoil hat, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that would hear that and like they'd probably dispute it in the same context. But even if we don't have all of the science, that alone should bring up a question.
It should at least make you question what's going on.
Like it doesn't need to be something where you're like, oh, the government is conspiring against me. It's like, well, maybe not, but at the
very least, what it could be is
it could be hurting you.
Yes,
right? Like,
exactly.
And we should ask
very
that
much
question.
Could be hurting you.
And we already have a ton of research about the mental damage, like regardless of what Wi-Fi does on a physical level.
Exactly.
Like we already have a ton of research about what social media does, what constant phone usage does, what it does to
that constant
not
dopamine feedback, the instantaneous dopamine feedback.
Right. So we already have a lot of research into that. This says, hey guys, this might not be good. You know, and like I'd even go so far as to say there is research out there that has made it fairly obvious there are elements to these large-scale electronic ideas that are not good. Like, social media does this in teenagers, or causes this in whatever. And I think that the evidence there, regardless of how much we know or don't know about the physical elements, is also very easy to back up what you're saying of like, hey, we need to ask this question. We need to look at this and see what it's actually doing to people. For sure. So,
like, I was like, one of the things that I was researching was, and I say researching, but just like screwing around on different social medias, seeing what other people's opinions are. Or like, I'll go to like the crazy parts of like the internet sometimes, like where it's like, okay, this is just, a lot of this is tinfoil hat like kind of deal, but it's like, okay, I have a goal in mind, and if they know something that like might seem crazy, but like might offer results, but it's not going to hurt me or anybody around me, I might try it out.
sure.
So like one of the things that somebody did was, it sounds really goofy, but they made a Faraday box and just like put their head in it, just like to block out all. And they started like a little brand or something to make like Faraday helmets to where it's like, you don't always have access to be able to get away from all the signals and the static, the noise, like this, and like the spiritual noise that you don't always have the ability to go to a
like literally
place.
tinfoil hat.
So literally,
like literally.
I think I found something similar. To add to that. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that entices me to be able to like I've been to a environment and a place where it's like there's no static, there's no distractions, there's no I feel like I can just talk with my creator without any like substances or help, or I can just exist in a natural state with like normal things.
Sure.
And like, I'm not smoking any drugs, I'm not taking any like substances, or like
there's no external factors that are causing you to experience that.
And I didn't have to eat anything. Like, there are some useful tools under the right circumstances that you can use to get to where you need to be if you are willing to go down those paths.
I'm going to suggest breaks. Because that can go into a very large topic really fast. And
absolutely.
We need to rein back to our neurotheology a little bit. But
just
please finish what you were talking about.
But just finding a way where you can get to that place where there's no static or no like, where I can hear the ringing in my ear, which is totally wonderful sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, you deal with this all the time? I was like, yes, 24/7. But I like to hear that because that means I don't hear the static or the background stuff, or like my brain's not going 1,000 miles a minute.
The constant assault.
Bro, like every second of the day, something like, I'll like just I'll listen, like just I'll pull off on the side of the highway and I'll be like, it's like 5 a.m. and I'm like, I will just sit there and pray and I'm like, oh, I can hear the ringing in my ear. Like, that doesn't happen very often. That's very nice. That's very nice.
That is such a unique perspective on...
Even though tinnitus is typically considered bad, it's nice to just listen to it ring.
As an audio tech, I've had a lot of opportunities to play with soundboards and adjust different sounds and everything. And the beauty of having all the musicians ready to go and the speakers being completely silent is amazing. Like, it sounds trite and it sounds trivial, but like the next time that you're at a concert or the next time that you're at a major production, like I'm not talking like, hey, somebody whipped out an acoustic and they plugged it in. I'm saying like there's a band on stage and they're setting up for 1,000 people. The next time you're at anything like that, just listen for a minute and realize how much audio is coming through in that moment. And half the time, it's not because it's a bad technician. Half the time, it's because there's so many cables. There's so many things that have the opportunity to present even the tiniest electrical feedback to go through the system. And then there's devices that could also cause that. Like, there's so many different variables that to have a quiet moment that's completely ready to accept whatever's about to happen is incredibly rare. Like, it's so uncommon.
Just to reel it back a bit. Well, before I reel it back, just one quick thing that talking about the tin hat and just reminded me of this experiment that I saw a little bit about. I
was trying to show Isaac. I too. All of us whipped out a timer for this episode.
So part of what I'm doing.
Nobody mentioned that at the beginning of the episode, but we all decided, all right, we're gonna watch time by all recording on our own devices.
Can I tell you why I put mine I put mine because I'm listening for like crappy things to screenshot the approximate time to help make your job easier to cut them out.
We even talked about me doing that last time. Yeah, that's so good. But just the fact that all of us have one going is so amazing. That's so great.
But back to this experiment, talking about the tin hat just reminded me of something real quick I saw last night. Doing some last minute prep. There's this experiment with what they called a God helmet, and I'm not exactly sure what it was all about because I just kind of saw it and scrolled past, but that just makes me want to go back and research that and see what that was.
We might have to follow up on that. That's an interesting little name right there.
But back to the quote of neuroplasticity.
We'll get there.
I
like how none of us have tried to say it. We just keep letting you.
Well, Isaac did, yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I've used this word before.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I sat there and made fun of it for like 10 minutes. I was like, neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
My apologies for missing your great effort.
So that is best when you first wake up and when you first go to bed. So practically what I've been doing is putting my phone out of reach from where I sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I use my watch as alarm, and once I lay down, I'm not going to look at my phone. And then my Bible is right next to my bed, though, so I can look at that before I go to bed and when I wake up. So that's kind of just me practically trying to put into practice what I'm saying and not just saying it and being a hypocrite. But
I've also done that same exact thing. Like my dresser, I've taken everything out of my bedroom because sleep has become... I use this word very loosely, but it has become like sacred to me. Like, do not mess with this because this is how I don't lose my mind all day. Like, unmedicated, don't lose my mind all day. Like, I can function on a...
Sorry, I snicker because I'm like, maybe I should try that then. Sleep. What an interesting concept.
There's a billionaire who has done a lot of research on like just different like tests, and he tested it out on himself. Like I don't know what his name is, but he looks like a freaking alien because his skin's so pale. Dude, he's got everything. He's literally researching like everything.
Not to judge people at all, no.
He's like, even if this doesn't end up helping me in the long run, it will help so many other people to just see exactly what X, Y, and Z does to the human body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like to have measurable results.
Yeah. So what did he do?
Everything. But one of the things what he did was sleep. Like even to where he infuses his son's blood into him and his blood into his dad.
Whoa, okay.
And it like
alright.
Oh yeah. Like it's crazy. He's like I absolutely
We've entered a new topic. Alright.
He's even said he's like, I am absolutely insane. Like just straight up. He's like, I understand. He's like, but everybody in here agrees to do this. I have lots of money. I don't have anything else to do in my life, and this is what is making me I'm very passionate about this. He's like, if nothing else, I'm helping out everybody else because now they don't know what to do or what not to do and what actually affects this and this. But
so
he looks insane. Anyways,
so that was what I was trying to ask.
The
what was the thing
portion of what he does is just, it's like, it's a dance and it's beautiful. But his room is completely like you walk in, it's like a sci-fi movie. There's like a specific type of light that emits a specific type of radiation. So like certain light bulbs emit certain radiation, which there's studies on what, like every little detail about his room, just his bedroom. There's nothing in it. There's no door. He's like, I busted this whole portion of my house and then just redid my bedroom from top to bottom. He's like, there's no seams in the walls. It's all painted the most researched color, like the paint itself even. And he's like, but you know what affected, with all these little tiny details down to the paint, down to the sheets, you know what really makes a difference? Keeping your bedroom cool, nothing hanging on your walls, no electronics. He's like, there's no screens, there's no specific, he lists off the type of light and what emits that radiation. He's like, 90% of your bulb, 99.9% of the bulbs that you have in your house emit a radiation that tells your brain, and he like lists off the sciencey terms for it. I don't know all the names. And he's like, this bulb, this bulb, this bulb, this bulb. All of these brands only sell these light bulbs that it lists off this radiation that tells your brain it's time to stay awake. It's time to stay awake. And even if you're tired and your body has started that going to sleep thing, if you have that light emitting enough radiation, he's like, you can even reduce your light in your whole house by 30%, 30 minutes before you go to bed, and that will help a tremendous amount.
Sure.
So keep one lamp on in the corner and diffuse that light as much as possible. So, like, if you put, like, I've got a special, like, but anyways, we took the dresser out. We took all of our electronics stay outside of our room on the dresser with the door cracked open, nothing on a nightstand. The only thing that's there is, like, I've got my home defense weapon. I've got my flashlight. I've got some antacids in there and some allergy medicine, so I don't have to get up if I can't breathe through my nose. So being able to breathe through your nose, having it cool, and having no light, like as little light as possible. Even light bouncing off of the walls and then hitting your face can trick that system into turning back on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then no phones 30 minutes before bed. And I was like, well, if that is affecting your sleep that much, what else is affecting everything else?
Right.
But yeah, that's my little... I forgot where that conversation started, but that's the point I was trying
That's
to
okay.
get
That's kind of the point of this podcast.
Yeah.
It is in our
That's
name.
literally our name.
We do be rambling. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, based on what Isaac said, I don't do all those things with, like, low to no light and electronics outside my room and, all that stuff. And I'm already kind of a heavy sleeper. So in a joking way, I don't know if I'd wake up if I did all that stuff.
You might even wake up better because it might be a lack of your body actually getting REM sleep and your body just so used to it.
So this is basically the
Then
setting
again,
down
I
of
don't know much about
technology
sleep,
for
so
the
I was
pursuit of
just kinda
flourishing.
Speaking of ignorance.
I wasn't trying to, like,
flourishing in Christ.
overshoot you or, like, be like...
And so in ancient traditions,
I realized that. I fully expected
ascetic
I like how that sound
practices
effect really
were an
is
extreme rejection
a
or
specific
avoidance
emotion
of
right
anything
there.
that was
Like,
considered
I know what you're
indulgent.
talking about when you do that.
So that's something Mark Comer was talking about, of kind of like gradually getting away from technology and closer to God and the practices that would get you closer to God. And so, like, some of those things are like Sabbath, or practicing or fasting, or just silence, like we were talking about, just with noise, and just some of those things of getting back to God by kind of quieting our minds and being in His Word and being in prayer. And just another sermon I heard recently of this guy would keep track of the percentage of his day that he was attuned to God. And he did that in one of his books. He would just have a percentage on the top of the page of, like, how attuned he was to God, like how often in the day he was thinking of God while he was doing things. It's like not just the reading the Bible and prayers glorifying God, but also like in eating and just enjoying Him and His creation and all the things that He has created for us. It's just another cool thing that makes me think, like, just how much more I want to be attuned to God and just always thinking and praying and just kind of getting away from the world and what they try to program us to be like. But yeah.
So I think this is a good time. I'm going to dive in with a couple quick things that I found. So as we were looking into neurotheology and, like, the partnership between the physical and the spiritual, and trying to figure out exactly, like, okay, do we have the evidence to say anything more than this is how our brain responds? Like, is this specifically for this function? Or, there are still a lot of questions about exactly how it relates. Even with a lot of the science and the studies, what I was reading was basically, okay, we know that this functions like this, but we're not sure if it does all of these things. If it does, coming from a Christian background, this is everything that it means, right? And so, like, it has really cool implications, but we're still in the process. I wouldn't say struggling, because we're definitely making leaps and bounds as far as, like, understanding the brain and all the different tiny pieces that connect. But that question mark of, like, okay, are humans innately born with a desire for God? That's one of the big questions in neurotheology. And one of the things that I found, he's within the Roman Catholic sector, so I'm probably going to mess up this name, but I believe it's Ilia Delio. And he said a really good quote. He said, "It is tempting to speculate that there is a God model in the brain, and that such a model is located in the area of the limbic system. However, such speculation needs to be made cautiously. What these findings do point to, however, is that spirituality involves the brain. For the first time in human history, we are beginning to understand spiritual experience not as something apart from the physical human, but rather bound up with human matter.
Yeah.
That is, the matter of the brain. Thus, matter and spirit are no longer seen to be opposed, but are indeed mutually related, if not one and the same." So I thought it was a really good quote, because I was like, especially in that first part, that's kind of where I was. Like, such speculation needs to be made cautiously, because it would be really easy for Christians, especially, that want that to be true, right? Or other religions too, that are looking at that going, oh, see, look, God created us that way. It would be very easy for us to bypass the rest of the science to figure that out, right? And just say, well, obviously this looks like it points in this direction, so that means that God did XYZ, and God made us specifically with this. And even if I personally believe that, we got to be careful to have that conversation with others, because we can't just tell them this is fact, right? Like, we need the science. We need to understand that. Otherwise, people are going to receive that information and kind of throw it right back. And they're gonna have a tendency to look at that and say, okay, well, you're just reading into what you want it to be true, right? Like, it kind of looks like that, and your beliefs look this direction, so therefore you're obviously going to say this is what it is. But then when he goes on to say what it actually proves right now, I thought was also really cool, because it doesn't just show, oh yeah, the brain does things and spiritual things happen. It's like, no. Like, the brain actually has a function to process religion. Like, a specific place in the brain to understand religion. And that's kind of a weird question mark for both sides of the coin, you know? Like, if you come from a biblical standpoint, again, I say biblical because that's where I'm coming from, but if you come from a religious standpoint, then you can point to that and say, oh, well, God designed us that way, or we were created that way, or we are born again that way, because we are supposed to see this higher power. But then if you come from a different direction, some place that doesn't believe in any sort of higher power whatsoever, then you kind of have to start asking the question of an evolutionary stance. Like, okay, why do our brains have this? Why did, at one point in time, we find it beneficial to evolve with this in our head, right? And to keep it this long, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sure there are a lot of arguments that people would make that I haven't even thought of. But it's the little bit that I have, I get to see kind of both sides of that coin of like, ooh, this is complicated. Like, that makes it really interesting to actually have that conversation with others now, of like, it's not just, oh yeah, religion is for some people and not for other people. It's like, well, actually, Our brains are specifically designed at least to understand it, if not specifically designed for it. You know, I'm actually going through a book called The Explicit Gospel by Matt Chandler. And when you were talking about how you did research that you didn't know that you were doing research, that's exactly what I felt like too. Because one of the sections that he's talking about was that we are built for worship. And he goes on to explain like a dozen different ways that people worship that aren't in a religious sense at all. And saying like, okay, well, why can we have wars and absolute devastation and all these crazy problems within the world, but the main stories that we see off of the news almost always involve some sports person and their girlfriend, or some actress and how she did all of these cool things with puppies? Like, why does that matter? Why is that on the news at all? And it's like, well, because we just have an innate desire to worship, to see something better than us and say, oh, wow, that's amazing, right? And we as Christians, we believe that that's because God created us and we're supposed to seek him. Yeah. But if you don't have that direction, you know, the question then becomes, do you still do that? And on a science level, it does appear that way, that people still gravitate towards that direction. They still have something, there's still a need to seek out something better, whether it's, you know, better job, better person that they want to look up to. Regardless of what it is, there's like a blank that people just have with the word better underneath in parentheses, like a Mad Libs, that you're supposed to fill in the gap. And like, that's just something that's built innately into us. So yeah. It's a good place to stop because I could probably keep going because it's really cool. But anyway. Yeah.
I'm tracking.
Yeah. I do have one other thing if there's a good pause here. If somebody wants to jump in, by all means. But
I'd say go for it.
Okay. So there's a different article that I bumped into. And it's from a guy, J. Clin D. Yep. His last name starts with D. Diagn. Diagon? I feel like Harry Potter. Diagon Alley.
Again, substitute teacher from Key and Peele vibes. Jack Wellen.
But our brain is a center of excellence. It is a temple in itself for the realization of the existence of God, as well as to preach and to follow the moralities and prohibitions in the form of the practice, which is called religion. So in other words, our brain is already designed for excellence. It's already crafted for that. But it seems to be a place itself for the understanding and seeking of God. And if you come from a non-religious standpoint, again, we just have that line that says, fill in this space of better, right? And that seems to be something that is innately built into human beings. And he goes on to talk about how the moralities and the prohibitions that are in place because of a religion, the things that we do because we believe in something, those are innately wired into the brain because of that desire for better, because of that desire for connection with a higher power, whatever that higher power is. And he goes on to say that, however, is an out-of-body experience transporting oneself to heaven or other netherlands, as well as the oneness with the universe, exaggerations on the flashy starry lights, visions and inner voices, and other virtual episodic events, which are being interpreted and preached as reality and miracles. Those form the extreme marker points for debate. And I think that's a good take, because I have never personally had a debate where it stopped at, oh yeah, I believe in God, I don't believe in God. Like, that has never occurred. It has always been a little bit farther than that, and almost always there's something to point towards a religious experience that does not match with what religion stands on, right? And so, like, if it is built into our brain why do we suck at it? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, why do we create more than what our religion would naturally say is where our faith should be, right? Why are we crafting? Why are people running all sorts of new theology? And like, well, if we really are built just to pursue God, why doesn't that just stop us from not pursuing other things, right? And so there's a whole bunch of question marks as far as, okay, if we're just debating, if we're built for pursuit of something, then how much more so are we supposed to understand that it's not always going to be the super radical, crazy, far side miracles that sometimes we hear about, right? And that's the media that a lot of people have a problem with inside of religion. They're like, oh, well, you guys go do this really crazy thing that we don't believe in at all, and that's really weird. And often a lot of the same people within that same religion would say, yeah, that's really weird. We don't believe in that, right? But that's the point of debate, right? That's the far marker that they can point at and say, yeah, that's crazy, so we're not going to believe you, right? I mean, it's the same issue that we've had over many years within the United States and different faiths within the Middle Eastern section, or even just a skin tone that comes from the Middle East, right? People naturally go, oh, well, you must believe, and they push it to the far ends of, radical terrorist groups. And it's like, most of the time, the people that you bump into the street are not those groups, right? But those are the markers of debate. And I thought that was really good on this quote. It just sits really well to say, like, when we're talking about this, we got to be careful to not constantly throw it to that point, right? We're just talking about science. And that's why I think the first quote is also super important, because we can't just quickly rush in and say, oh, well, obviously God made us for this, because that would be that far point of debate, right? Like, that would be us almost trying to say, oh, we got you. Like, look, God built us this way. You have to believe it now. It's like, no, that's not true. Like, they don't have to believe it. Even if it is true that God built us that way, like, they don't have to believe it. And we have to have that conversation, Yeah. So, all right. Officially done. I have no more quotes to give you guys.
No, you're good. That was all good. I'm also running out of things to say. But one of my last things was kind of just going to be like brainstorming of ways that we can kind of implement this, or like making it more practical for us. Just like, putting off the bad and putting on the good, kind of as the Bible roughly quoted.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It might have to happen off air, because it might be a more involved conversation, just trying to figure out. But I'd be curious, like, if we left this table, went about our lives, and all picked something to swap. So we take out X and we put in Y.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be anything big. Like, for me, maybe it's, instead of, every 5 videos that I go through TikTok, I read a Bible verse. I pause. Instead of just constantly doom scrolling, like, I stop and I go and read something full and contextual to my existence, right? It could be something as simple as, okay, instead of, maybe you watch a show every week, and it's like, okay, well, instead of watching this show, I'm going to do a 15-minute exercise with worship music on. Like, I'd be curious to see what the results are for something that small, of just a trade, even for like, here to the next episode. Even from here to the next episode. What would that look like to exchange those two, and what sort of results would we see because of that? That would be like a practical thing that I would think of with what you're talking about. That would be cool for me to see. Like, I'm starting to rack my mind of like, okay, what am I going to do? Because I'm going to walk away with this, but I'd love to hear what you guys end up doing as well if you choose to. Because, yeah, I think that would be a practical way for me. I think that would be an easy thing for me to refocus. If my brain is really designed for this, does it help stuff like my mental health? Does it help stuff like, my compassion towards my wife? Because in theory, if our brain is naturally wired for religion, if it is naturally wired towards God, and I don't do it, it'd be just as effective as just not eating food, right? Like, our body needs food, therefore, to function correctly, I need to eat. If our body needs pursuit of whatever, I'm not trying to force religion down anybody's throat, but that is what I believe. So if I believe that if it requires me to pursue God, am I starving it by not doing it? Even in little doses, right? Like,
Sorry,
Go for it.
real quick, another practical thing I've done before, but I mean, again, not always good at these things and don't always do them, but another thing I've done before is like taking Instagram and uninstalling it and then putting my Bible app in that place where...
Oh, like the exact spot?
Yeah, where it was before. Because it's like, sometimes when I'm bored, I'll just open my phone and scroll to where that area is where social media is. It's like, oh, the Bible's there. Well, might as well, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
But,
that's cool.
Yeah, just rearranging stuff so that it's like not always scrolling to social media.
Shake yourself up.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'll have like days or weeks where I'll set my background to something like just straight up black, and then I'll turn it on eye sensitive mode and keep the brightness down as low as I can while still being able to maintain useful function out of my phone. And then I'll do like no social media, no YouTube, no nothing, only using this as a tool.
Yeah.
And it's like a reset.
There's definitely a lot of research into media fasts and like how beneficial they are, for sure.
I was gonna say something, but I don't know. I feel like based on how long the podcast has been going, I don't know if like it's gonna get cut off or not.
No, you're okay. Go for it.
Okay.
Go for it. Say what you're gonna say.
Okay.
We'll make it work.
Yeah. Thanks.
We'll give you a special bonus episode, just you.
This is my solo.
The wisdom of tracking Travis. That's a podcast name in itself, right there, man. Okay, go.
Gotta find my train of thought again. Yeah. So, speaking of like wisdom and stuff, sometimes acquiring wisdom is a matter of, making mistakes and just learning from them. And kind of related to what you were saying, Jake, on just like, I think we all kind of touched on it, is like finding a way to unplug from the chaos of life and really get more attuned to God. Wow, I just I led up to that, but I just lost it again. Anyway, let me just get right into it. So one thing I've been doing is thanks. One thing I've been doing is trying to establish this habit of having like this daily devotion where I try to read, a certain amount of verses in the Bible every day. So I make it a daily thing. And then once a week, I try to dive a little deeper and I, make it more of a priority to cut out more distractions. And I even put myself in a room that has no electronics except for my digital watch to track the time. And I think I've only done that like once or twice. But like just the feeling that I got of like being disconnected from all the distractions in life, it's hard to describe. Like it felt freeing. And kind of the peak of my story here is I had this silly thought where I was like, this is a great feeling. I think I want to kind of limit how much I do this, because I feel like if I do this too much, it'll lose significance. But then I was like,
interesting.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, Travis, you poor soul. You live in a world where, if you seek something for long enough, it'll kind of lose its value, or lose its significance. But if you are seeking the creator of the world, and, your heavenly Father, something you commonly forget is like, there's not enough that you can know about him. Like he's incomprehensible, and it's just something that a lot of us humans can't grasp. Is man, I was going there, then I lost it. But
no, I don't think you did. That's really good.
I guess I see myself as someone who needs to grow in my faith a lot, and I think that was a big step, is just seeing that there's something that I can seek that's not gonna like expire in value.
Maybe we should give you your own section of wisdom with Dragon Travis. That was pretty good, man. That was pretty good. Yeah.
I think that might be a good place to end it, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A great spot. Great wisdom, and great place to end. Unless there's any final thoughts within a minute of talking.
That was a home run right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only thing, like, hey, if you're a listener and you decide to do this with us, let us know. Like, let us know what you're substituting, changing out, or, if you're choosing to do something even more drastic or more different, like, yeah, just let us know. We want to be a part of it, because that's cool. Like, that's really cool. Regardless of religious or not, if you're trading out stuff, like, just knowing what the impact is, like, that can be a good thing for a whole community. So, yeah.
And to kind of clarify on that, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there, with the areas that we post our podcast to, I think there's, ways of, commenting and.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, drop something in the comment section, and
right.
Let us know what's up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a great podcast. I want to say see you later, but it's more like you'll listen to us later on Ramblin' Men.